The first one, I invite for the reviewer the Honorable Ibu Profesor Dr. Siti Aisyah Ginting MPD to give Ibu Nurmahyuni ASRUL comment, question, suggestion, and advice. Thank you. Time for you, Ibu Prof.
Siana mana?
Ngajar.
Ngajar. Bisa ngajar kayak gitu?
Bisa.
Ada apa?
Oke. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ya, Nurmahyuni ASRUL. Ya, overall your proposal is good. I just want to know the concept or
Thank you,
the
ma'am.
understanding about what you are going to do. Okay. Kok bunyinya?
Hanya kita continue.
Yeah. You were going to conduct a research with the title Developing a Digital Storytelling Based Narrative Writing Model through Local Culture Story. Okay. So, what is the product of your research? And how do you develop it? Yeah. Based on the terminology page 16, no, 16, yeah. What page? The terminology. Yeah, about the digital storytelling. Okay, this is the product of your research, right? Can you listen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what is your product of your research?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for your question. So basically,
And how do you
Yes, ma'am.
develop it?
yes, ma'am. Okay. So thank you very much, ma'am, for the question. So I will tell a little bit about my dissertation proposal because it's starting from the problems of in the context. So because of the problem is consisted of the students which is very low in constructing meaning and generating ideas. So the product of my study will be the model of the book and also the guidance books and also the teachers books and also the students the teachers book, the students book, the guidance book, and also the worksheet. Ma'am, that
How
is
about the
my
digital storytelling? Do you make it
ma'am.
by yourself?
No, ma'am. Actually, the digital storytelling is an approach that have been provided, ma'am.
Has
And the
been
process of the
provided?
digital, yes, has been provided. The digital storytelling is an approach, but because I integrate the digital storytelling with the multimodal and also the local culture stories, so I create the new syntax, which has 7 pages, ma'am. I create the new syntax from which is I provide from the digital storytelling and the adding of multimedia and also the local culture itself. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
three of them is yes, ma'am.
yeah. But you said that this is the storytelling. Yeah, digital storytelling. What kind of
Yes, ma'am.
story that you are going to tell to the student or that will be used?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, actually, the digital storytelling is an approach, ma'am, which has 6 phases or 6 process in the teaching learning. So when I give the story to the students, I integrate the local culture from, I limited the local culture from North Sumatran, which consists of 8 ethnics, ma'am. So I will give the material for the students based on the 8 ethnics from North Sumatran local culture stories, ma'am.
So the local culture stories found in the written text, not in the digital form.
The digital storytelling is the the approach that helps the students to write well by integrating the local culture stories itself in the process of the writing activities, ma'am.
Yeah, so what do you mean? Only this the approach digital storytelling. There is no relation with the digital form.
The digital storytelling actually is an approach that has 6 process in the activities. And then I integrated the digital storytelling approach with the multimodal and also the local culture stories so that I propose 7 syntax, ma'am. The digital means here is the use of the applications such as Canva, CapCut to create the picture, the audio, and to help the students to write well and to engage them to
So
be
it
very
means that
motivated.
the local culture stories has been provided, right?
Already, ma'am, local culture stories have already provided by Robin 2006. So I combining with the multimedia and also the local culture stories and provide with 7 syntax, ma'am, in the final design, in the proposed
Okay,
test design.
okay. So you will, I mean the product will be the model, teaching
Yes,
model, right?
ma'am. The teaching model
Okay,
with some
yeah.
various product, ma'am.
Okay. Suppose if the I mean the local culture stories or the stories is not the local culture, how will become? Or is it possible for you to
Yes,
use
ma'am.
it?
So actually, because my study is intended or limited by having using local culture stories, so this model is proposed by integration of the local culture stories. But if in the future, the other researcher would like to develop this design, they can add the other kinds of story. Why I choose the local culture stories? Because in my setting in Safiatul Amalia, they use international curriculum, which is Cambridge curriculum, and the content of the text in the books very far from the students' identity. So I need the local culture stories to engage the students, to give a motivation of the students because it will be very close to their identity. So it can create the students, it can make the students easier to generate the ideas, to maintain the coherence, and also to organize the event, ma'am.
Okay, it means that this model is only applicable for teaching narrative text based on local culture stories, right?
I
So this
created
is your purpose,
by
yeah?
invitation. Yes, I created by this purpose, ma'am.
Okay. Suppose that if the students have no prior knowledge about the local culture stories, so how will you solve this problem? Because by having the prior knowledge of the local culture stories, it is easier for the students to write narrative text.
Yes, ma'am. That's very true, ma'am. That's happened also in some students in Safiatul Amalia because they use international Cambridge curriculum. And sometimes, and some of the students didn't know about the local story itself. So this is the responsibility of the teacher. In the second step or in the digital storytelling, there is something like given a material to the students, and the students will research with their friends. And in that phases or in that process, the students will get the inspiration, and the students will be and the students will know the storytelling very well, especially in their for their identity such as Malay story, Mandailing, Bataknis, or any other ethnic, ma'am. That's also the main problem in Safiatul Amalia, ma'am. So because of that, I also took this study, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay, next. According to 2020, the students not only expect to produce text grammatically right, but also the students are able to construct the text coherently and meaningful. Okay, my question is, how this model can enhance the students' ability of writing the students' writing ability as what then states. You got it?
Yes, I got it, ma'am. That's the theory. And then I got
This is
the
related to your
preliminary.
model, eh?
Yes, ma'am. That's the theory, and because of that, I got the preliminary data from Safiatul Amalia that only 68% of the students, no, 68% of the students can write grammatically correct, but only 28% of the students write with a good coherence. So because of that, I use this model to help the students to write well. How can this digital storytelling based narrative writing model can help the students to write in a good way? So the model is expected to improve the students' narrative writing ability through the integration of genre-based scaffolding, ma'am. So there is genre-based scaffolding, multimodal storytelling, and culturally relevant context. So there are the stages and also the syntax that I provide, and every syntax provide a meaningful activities which lead the students to write in a good way. Something like, for example, in the second syntax, the teacher will guide the students to write down with with a very good constructing, which is orientation, complication, and also resolution. So in that stage, the students are guided to write in constructing way. So it's also help the students to write with a good coherence and also with a good event, ma'am. So this model is really needed to help the students write the narrative writing very well by helping the adding of technology, so the students will get motivated, the student will feel happy because the add of the technology, something like Canva, CapCut, it will create the motivation, it will add their uh, enthusiasm to write well, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. You told me that the students' ability in writing has a high score, yeah, not high score, but a good score. Will you repeat it again?
Yes, ma'am. From the preliminary data, ma'am, that I've shared, 68% of the students can write with a good grammar. We know that why it this happened because it is international class students. They can speak very well, they can write very well, but in grammatical order. Why? Because the teacher only focuses when the teacher teach the students in writing, the teacher only focuses on the grammar, on the structure itself. That's the focusing of the teacher. Meanwhile, 28% of the students failed. Only 28 of the students have a good complication, ma'am. So many of the students still struggling in generating ideas, organizing event, and also maintaining the coherence. So that's become my preliminary data from Safiatul Amalia. That's I've got from
Okay.
the teacher.
Okay. Yeah, it is very good because
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
mean score of the students in writing narrative is good with the 70, 70
68
score.
students, ma'am, with
Yeah.
the good grammar. But
Yeah, good
28
grammar.
students,
How about the coherent?
yeah, only 28 students, ma'am. Only 28 students with a good complication and only 30% of the students with a good coherent. So
20
that's
out of
become,
20
okay,
out
ma'am.
of
The total of the students is 32, 30 until
What?
32 students. The
30?
total of the student, 30 students, because it's very limited, ma'am. In one class only consists of 15
Yeah,
until
I
16
see. I
students,
see.
ma'am. Yes, so the total of the students is 30, ma'am. So it's very yes, I know that small class, ma'am. So from that data, I've got that only 30% of the students got very good in coherence, and 28% of the students good in good complication. So it becomes my problems in this study, ma'am.
Okay. So, based on your data, preliminary data, it's
Yes, ma'am.
that's you don't have to to use the storytelling. So, by the way, basically, what is really the purpose of your research?
Yes.
Because you
Uh-huh, ma'am.
tell us the score or the students' ability in teaching, in writing, yeah, with a good score. Okay, what is really the basic of your purpose?
Okay, ma'am. Because my main focus is would like to develop a model that can help the student to generate the ideas, organizing the event, and maintaining the coherence. So, based on my preliminary data, only 28 until 30% of the students got the good complication and coherence, ma'am. So the rest of that, they're still struggling in generating ideas, organizing event, and maintaining the coherence. The 68% of the students, they are good in writing, but in grammatically correct, not in generating ideas, ma'am. So because of that, I propose this digital storytelling based narrative writing model through local culture to help the students generating ideas, organizing event, and also maintaining the coherence, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that is only need practicing, yeah. Because by
Yes, ma'am.
practicing, the student can be able to write the writing well. Yeah. Nah, so yeah, as what happened to my to students of international school, that they are able in first year of SMP, they are able to write the text well. Yeah, because of they get practice from the teacher. The teacher asks them to write the narrative text, but uh, yeah, I think that is good research because you use the local culture story. So besides make the students are able to write narrative text is also to make the student aware of the culture. As we
Yes, ma'am.
know that nowadays the students, yeah, are, I mean that they don't know about the local culture stories, yeah, but
Yes,
by
ma'am.
use this local or by implement this digital story model will help the students to know or to aware more than what they have now about the local culture
Yes,
stories.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The last one is about the references. I just want to know what is your reason to use the number in
Yes,
writing
ma'am.
references?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, ma'am. That's my mistake. Actually at the first time I used the number. I just want to calculate how many references that I've got from
Yeah.
my proposal. I don't want to miss anything, but yes, that's my mistake, ma'am. I will
Okay,
revise.
so don't forget to revise. Then,
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
yeah, you also miss one reference that is number
Yes, ma'am.
34.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
issue
I know it.
Yeah, not in that number. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I know it, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, I think overall is good.
Thank
That's
you,
all.
ma'am.
Prof. Sumarsi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you to. Have you got the picture? Documentation sudah? Siapa? Catherine. Sudah? Sudah? Sudah ya? Ini saya ambil foto. Sudah kan? Oke, thank you ya. Saya tutup ya, saya tutup ininya. Ya, you do the task. Thank you to Ibu Professor Dr. Siti Aisyah Ginting MPD. You have given the comment, the suggestion, the advice, especially for the Ibu Nurmahyuni ASRUL. I think this is right because we want to mix with the local local culture. Yeah, that is why you make this research. Yeah, for the second reviewer, I invite Ibu Dr. Fauzia Hairani Lubis SSM Room, give Ibu Nurmahyuni ASRUL comment, question, suggestion, advice to her. Yeah, thank you. I invite you, Ibu Dr. Fahri, Fauzia, to give a comment. Yeah, time for you, Ibu Fauzia.
Thank you, Prof. Sumarsi, for the opportunity given to me. And okay, are you ready with the question? Nurmahyuni?
Yes, ma'am. Inshallah, ma'am.
Okay, good.
I feel
Okay.
nervous, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, dear. Okay, my first question is, how does the specific curriculum utilized by this international school, the Cambridge framework, impact or interface with your model? Specifically, how do you ensure that the digital storytelling interventions aligns with the Cambridge learning objectives and the assessment standards? I think you can combine the answer later with these questions. The next questions, how does doing the digital storytelling help the students pass a traditional Cambridge writing exam? I believe you know, which is paper-based examinations, right? So are you clear with my questions? Seems like a lot of questions one time. Do you want me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am. I will try to answer, ma'am. Yes, first of all, I really thanks because I got you as my reviewer because I know that you also come from international school. So I really need your suggestion now. So basically, Safiatul Amalia use 4 kinds of curriculum, ma'am, which is national curriculum, Cambridge curriculum, religion curriculum, and also local curriculum. They have 3 classes, which is regular class, which use national and local and also religion curriculum, and then Tahfiz curriculum, same as regular class, and also international class. International class uses 4 kinds of that curriculum. The combination of that curriculum, which is Cambridge curriculum, and then national curriculum in some subjects, and then Tahfiz curriculum or religion curriculum, and also local curriculum. And it's international class in some subjects such as English, math, biology, physics, chemistry, they will use a Cambridge curriculum. And in SMP Safiatul Amaliyah, they use IGCSE curriculum. So, in my previous research in Safiatul Amaliyah, we've got from the curriculum that there is very limitation of the local culture, especially from Indonesia, in the text. So because of that, I really propose this study from the using of local culture stories. And then why I do it, because I know that Cambridge is very freedom. They they apa namanya ya? They let the school to add some materials that can connect it to their context. So in this context, I use local culture stories to help the students to be near with their identity, because I found many problems in my classroom, because I am also the teacher in that classroom, ma'am. If I tell them about the local stories, some of the students didn't know about that, because they are uh, apa namanya ya? They are presented the global text, ma'am. And then for me, I don't really intend to the curriculum. Why? Because as a teacher, I cannot change the curriculum. So the local cultures become the materials that I will put in my lesson plan as the helping materials to help the students in writing narrative text.
Okay, Nurma,
yeah.
is that
Ma'am.
you want to add?
And then, ma'am, can I add
Okay,
something,
sure.
ma'am?
Yeah, I thought that you have.
So the integration of local culture is compatible with the Cambridge curriculum, because, like I said before, that Cambridge curriculum emphasize the literacy competencies, so which is writing and then reading. And can I tell you a little bit of my experience, ma'am, about
Yeah,
the
sure.
examination? Because you asked me about the examination of the Cambridge curriculum, ma'am.
Yes.
So last previous months, my student faces the Cambridge curriculum examination, so they got a very not a good score in writing, ma'am. And the question of the writing is really related to the narrative, but in a different style, ma'am. For example, if I talk about local culture, in that examination, they talk about the imagination. For example, imagine that you are in this empty classroom. So what happened with you? And you can add some person, you can add the complication, and you can add the resolution in that story. So I think, in my opinion, when I want to take this title, ma'am, I really relate to the Cambridge assessment, because as my experience, I check the Cambridge examination question, especially for narrative writing, they give a question in narrative, ma'am. So in my opinion, my study is related to the Cambridge assessment, ma'am.
Okay, that is a very good answer, Nurmahyuni. I
Thank
do
you, ma'am.
agree with what you mentioned, that Cambridge curriculum, Cambridge curriculum gives us freedom to
Yes.
use our own material as long as the learning objective can be met, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
also the use of local culture stories in your classrooms, in your model. I think it is very interesting to cultivate the national identity, especially within the international school setting, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But that I want you to, of course, learn a little bit deeper on
Yes, ma'am.
the Cambridge learning objective, plus the assessment standard, plus the paper-based examination related to the multimodal creativity that is in your model, so that you don't, let's say, SPK school, I believe, I mean, international school, I believe they are very busy. We have a lot of target. And with the phases of the seven, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned the seven syntax in your model. Is it seven?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 7 syntax.
Yeah, there are a lot of things and a lot of activities, and you must, like in DBR, we have to really concern about the ecology or the environment. We cannot expect the environment is perfect. So with the model, it will just work like, perfect things, because there is nothing that hindrance the running of this model. But the thing is that the real environment, the real difficulties that happens in your classrooms is the one that you need to work on with this model, right? And I think it's I think it's good for you to talk about this curriculum Cambridge with your model in your dissertation. Yeah, you talk a little bit about it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And then my next question is that at what specific stage will you collaborate with the classroom teacher for this model? At what specific stage will you collaborate with the classroom teacher for this model?
Okay, ma'am. So actually, because the collaborating teacher becomes my participant, so the collaborating teacher will implement the model start from the stage 1 until the stage 7. Because even though I am the teacher in that school, it will become very biased if I implement my model, my own model. So I need my collaborating teacher, which is English teacher in 8th grade, to implement my model from the stage 1 until the stage 7. Not only implementing, but the collaborating teacher also helped me to give input to the design principle, to the design, to the teaching material. So this collaborating teacher is very important in this study, ma'am.
A very good answer. Your answer just now differentiate between the penelitian tindakan kelas and the model that you have. Yeah.
Yes,
Teachers, you and the teachers should maintain a very tight collaboration, especially not especially, but I think in the whole of the
the stage.
Yeah, the stages like before, within, and also after you make after the model has been practiced, after it is implemented, and then you need to evaluate the model, right?
Yes.
Okay. My next question is that does your model teach digital ethics, such as copyright for the music and images the students use?
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Does your model teach digital ethics?
So in the phase 3, ma'am, digital storytelling planning, and in the phase 5, digital storytelling production, in that stages, the teacher will guide the students to use some kinds of suitable medias. But with your suggestion, ma'am, I will add the ethics, especially for the apa tadi, ma'am?
Yeah, so that your students, you teach your students to identify the copyright versus the Creative Commons materials, So
Yes, ma'am, I will.
I think that is very important, especially nowadays.
Okay, ma'am.
And my next suggestion is that in your assessment criteria, I think you can include a score for like what do we call that, as a digital citation.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, that will complete your interesting model.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I will, ma'am. Thank you for the suggestion, ma'am.
Yeah. And also, but I might be wrong. I haven't seen that in your, I haven't read that in your assessment criteria. It seems to me that you lack the digital elements. I think since your research focus on the digital storytelling, I think you need your assessment tools need to reflect both the linguistic competence and also the multimodal creativity. Am I, Nurmahyuni, am I wrong? I mean, I didn't read that in your.
Yes, ma'am. You are not wrong, ma'am. I have already discussed with my promoter, ma'am, and my co-promoter. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Because this is the story, ma'am. Because the curriculum, the objective is in SMP Safiatul, in SMP, if we talk about the curriculum in SMP, the objective is only the students can write narrative writing well. So because of that, I put the genre-based assessment with linguistic and also generic structure, which is orientation, complication, and resolution. And because of that, because I use digital storytelling, yeah, we know that it is really need to assess the model, but the assessment primarily focuses on wait, ma'am.
The narrative, yeah, narrative.
So actually, the focus of my assessment is only on students' narrative writing development, ma'am, including orientation, complication, resolution, and coherent, and also the language use. So, but I will later discuss with my promoter and co-promoter about the adding of the elements of digital storytelling. That's also maybe becomes my novelty, ma'am, because there have been previous studies conducted the research in SMP that related to the multimodal, ma'am.
Yeah, that is
Assessment for the multimodal.
Nurmahyuni.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. My next question is that in your research, how does the syntax of your model accommodate the students' different abilities? You know, as far as I'm aware, in my classroom, in our classrooms here, even though, of course, they are, I mean, people might consider that all students are, they are all smart, but somehow they can speak English. But like what you mentioned to me, to us just now during your presentation, they can speak in English, but then they write messily sometimes.
Yes.
But then some students are very good. Some, you know, we cannot always expect that our students is you know, they have sameness or similarities in the ability. But the real situation is that students are different. They are unique. They come from different background as well. So your model, are you aware of this? Or I mean, the syntax say something about this in your model?
Okay, ma'am. That's also happened in Safiatul Amalia, ma'am. Sometimes we cannot apa namanya, rejected our many kinds of input of the students. Some students with the high level, some students with low level, especially in speaking English, in English language, and also in writing. So actually, in my syntax, there is also a peer or a discussion with students and teacher. So in that stage, the students will be guided with their peers, and I will put the lead of the peer with high level of competence. So they can not teaching, but they can try to have their friends who has a low level in writings, so that becomes a good writing skill. But I know that it's very difficult, man, because
Yes, true.
this research is only conducted in some months, so it's really needs time by time experience, time by time practices in the classroom in the real context, ma'am. So later I will revise and I will really intense to that problems, ma'am, in my syntax, ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, to avoid that your model might be too what do we call it, as a one size fits all, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think you should have a clear mechanism for differentiation. And of course, this is a difficult job to do, but in order to make things better, right,
Yes,
Nurmahyuni?
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're talking about what is the exact role of the local culture stories in your model? Many times in your dissertation, you write about students being familiar or not Sumatra students, like on page, if I'm not mistaken, on page 46. They are familiar with the story. Do you do any like diagnostic tests where, I mean, like making you sure that the students are truly familiar with this story? That your idea is when students are familiar with the stories, or the stories are familiar, then it will have the students understanding because they are going to use their existing knowledge, and that will make the classroom more meaningful. I think that is the idea you have. But I'm not sure whether I misinterpret this, but I think as far as I'm aware, students of international schools, they are more exposed to the global contents, to the global pop culture, you know, like and like what we call it, like Marvel, Disney stories, something like that. And then what if they are not familiar to this local culture? Um, does this model collapse because of students not being familiar, because it doesn't help them in the understanding, it doesn't invite their interest, it doesn't help them in the development of the narrative story? How do you think about this?
Okay, ma'am. So actually, there is one uniqueness of my class, especially in Safiatul Amalia, because even though it is Indonesian international class, they come from Indonesian citizen, not come from the other citizen. So some of the students are coming from the regular primary school, and some of them are coming from international primary school. So in that level, in some students, they have already known about the local culture, but in some students, like we said before that, they do not know about the local culture itself. So when I got the interview with the teacher in the classroom, the teacher have already tried to use the local culture in that classroom. So the result is when they use the local culture, the students get enthusiasm. So it helped them to be easy to generate ideas and also to organize the event and also to maintain the coherence. So because of that, by having that preliminary data from Safiatul Amalia, especially from the teacher in 8th grade, I got I got the intention that local culture stories is very important to be integrated in my digital storytelling, because it can have not only motivation, but because of it is very near with their identity. I also would like to improve their local awareness, man. So at the end, I really hope I want to make local culture stories become internationalized, especially with my students. So at the end of this research, I really hope that my students can write the other kinds of local culture stories with a modern way. So because of that, it is the integration of digital storytelling and also the multimodal, ma'am.
That is a very noble mission, NURMAHYUNI. Um, I do agree with you in that point. In order to make sure that our students know the stories, the local wisdom and local culture stories of our country, then we need to make them more exposed to it, right? But
Yes.
then I see from the writing in your dissertations, there are a lot of statements that you mentioned about being familiar to the stories. Well, in that way, I think that it is a need for you to do diagnostic tests to know whether this one's familiar or not familiar. And if they're not familiar, your model doesn't work, something like that. Or maybe I think you should pivot to I think you should how to say it, emphasize more on the mission of cultivating the national identity. I think that will make your dissertation more significantly powerful, rather than if you bring the situation of familiar, not familiar. That what I worry about is that your model only works for the students who are familiar with the local stories. I think we need to. I think it's just maybe you check one more time some pages of your dissertation. You talk much about this being familiar with the local cultures, but I think you need to add or maybe not add. I think you need to emphasize more on the mission that you mentioned just now about but cultivating the national national identity reclamation. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
That
ma'am.
is my suggestion. And
Okay, thank you for the
also,
suggestion,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. One more question, ya, Nurmayuni.
Okay, ma'am.
Banyak sekali. Okay. One significant risk of using we talk about familiar local cultures again. I think, okay, you mentioned just now that the local cultures stories have been there, right? How is your model avoid that your students tend to settle for literal translations if the local culture is in Bahasa Indonesia, literal translation of the existing sources? How do you make sure they really develop the narrative story of that local cultures rather than just maybe copying the existing sources only, or if it is in Bahasa Indonesia, only doing the literal translation for producing the narrative writing?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, I have already think about it when I want to create my pre-test and also my post-test, ma'am. That's very, very difficult for me because if I give the students the pre-test and post-test only rewrite, so it means that I cannot see the improvement of my students' writing ability, especially in generating ideas. So since narrative writing is fiction, so it means that the students will try to imagine anything. So my point is to see the students' improvement in generating ideas, organizing event, and also maintaining the coherence. So the task that I will give to the students is imaging the local culture that really close to them, and please write down from the other perspective. For example, ma'am, if we know the story of Lake Toba, ya kan, ma'am, Danau Toba, the story is only focused on the perspective of ikan mas, for example, kan, ma'am. So I need them to write and to imagine if they want to write down based on the perspective of anaknya, ma'am, ikannya. Siapa
Oh,
namanya tuh? Lupa
okay.
saya, ma'am. Si Toba, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
it means that it is also help them to generate ideas, ya kan, ma'am, to
Yeah.
organize the event and also to maintaining the coherence. So they not only rewrite the
Mm.
story, but they have to write the story based on the other perspective, ma'am. So I think, yeah, ma'am, I think, in my opinion, in my hope, that I will get a new local culture stories from the other perspective of SMP Safiatul Amalia students, ma'am. That's really my hope, ma'am, or my wish in this
Okay.
research, ma'am.
So there is an idea engineering, and students
Yes,
make the students make the story their own, right?
yes, ma'am.
And the students will be proud of doing that. We
Yes.
practice that here as well. They are very happy. That is interesting, NURMAHYUNI. Thank you
Thank you,
very
ma'am.
much for your answer, and
Thank you, ma'am.
hopefully everything runs well after this. And
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you to Ibu Dr. Fauzia Hairani from Business SMO. You have given much comment, suggestion, advice to Ibu Nurmahyuni ASRUL. Thank you. And then the next reviewer, I invite Pak Ariadna SSM PhD. Time for you, Pak Ariadna.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Sumarsi, for giving me the opportunity. First of all, congrats, NURMAHYUNI ASRUL, on your dissertation proposal seminar. I believe this is a rewarding milestone in your PhD journey. And also, I must say that I had the pleasure of reading your well-presented and detailed proposal.
Thank you, Pak.
Okay, so let me start with my comments. The first one, chapter 1, introduction. Let me suggest that in the first few pages, some pages, I would say, in your introduction, you tend to make claims. One claim, for example, writing is treated as a linear activity rather than a recursive process. That is on page 4. But I would like to see citations that strengthens your view here. So you tend to make claims, but without any citation. In academic writing, if you do not provide any citations, your statements can be subjective. Okay.
Okay, Pak. Thank you.
That is the first thing in introduction, and let me go carry on with the literature review. Or also in the introduction. You claim to have a local culture gap in your international school, right? But could you please provide any evidence, perhaps from previous studies, about these local culture gaps? I mean, in other international school contexts, or does this happen only to your international school? Because you said, although the school, for example, teaches students international culture, there is very little to be taught about the local narratives. Perhaps this is something that you need to add to just to strengthen your claim of this local culture gap.
Thank you, Pak.
So earlier I have witnessed that two examiners talked about an important terminology actually. This is what we call cultural alienation. So cultural alienation means when students feel like strangers in their own culture. So if I got you right, you claim that there is familiarity. You're talking about students' familiarity with local cultures, but yes, like the first two examiners or reviewers, I would also to touch upon this issue because this is important. As I see it, your proposal is about creating a pedagogical bridge. Yeah, you want to teach the unknown, the narrative writing convention through the known. The known here is the local stories. Yeah, but what's at stake here, what's important here is you need to make sure that your students are familiar with the local stories. In your international context, where Cambridge curriculum is in effect, right? I'm wondering if the students are more familiar with international characters than the local characters. Yeah. Say, for example, cultural alienation can happen, for example, between Cinderella. Yeah. Cinderella is portrayed in Disney, right? Students are more familiar with this rather than the story of bawang putih yang bawang
Bawang
merah,
putih, bawang merah.
right? Yeah. So if your purpose, your objective is to teach the unknown through the known, you need to make sure that your students are familiar. Yeah. My question to you is, how would you ensure that your students are familiar with the local stories?
Yes, Pak.
Yeah. How would you
So,
avoid this cultural alienation?
yeah, that will be so basically when I have an interview with the English teacher in 8th class, they have already tried to use the local culture in the classroom when they teach narrative text. And some students are really familiar with that story, but some students are not, Pak. So that's my preliminary data from the
Yeah.
teacher that I've got in the
Yeah.
classroom, Pak.
Yeah, but I suggest that you provide a session, right, for the students to familiar,
Pak.
because your intention is, right, to teach them the unknown. In this case, the narrative writing convention, right? And then you said that you want to reduce the cognitive load through the known stories. Yeah. If the students are not familiar with the stories, the other way around will happen. Right? The opposite will happen. Instead of reducing their cognitive load, you will add their cognitive load because they have to struggle with the plot of the story if they are not familiar with the story. Yeah? How would you expect to give them technological or digital scaffolding if in the first place they are not familiar with the story? Yeah, so this is the first thing. The second thing I would like to comment is the technological scaffolding. Yeah, you talk about technological scaffolding here, and then you claim that there is familiarity with digital platforms. Yeah, both on the students' parts and both on the teachers' parts. Yeah. My question is, how would you ensure that there is this level of familiarity with students? Earlier,
Okay,
you
Pak.
talk about the possibility of using Canva or CapCut, yeah? Is that right? How would you
Yes, Pak.
ensure that the implement teacher is familiar with this digital platform and also the students, yeah?
Okay, Pak. In the background of the study, I already explained about my research setting, which is SMP Safiatul Amalia. Why it is suitable for my study? Because Safiatul Amalia provide the digital readiness or digital facilities, which has computer and then internet and also the facilities that really support me to do this digital storytelling practice. So how can I assure that my students are really familiar with the technology? Because as we know that SMP Safiatul Amalia, especially in international classroom, they come from the middle to up from the family, from the background of the family. They have their own facilities such as their own laptop, their own tablet, and their own iPad, so they can bring to the classroom. And almost all the students have that kinds of technology. And then why I know that my students are really familiar with Canva and CapCut, in our activity in the classroom, we always use something like application to support their study and teaching activities, such as when they learn Bahasa Indonesia and they ask to create a poster, the teacher will suggest them to choose Canva as the platform. And from the preliminary observation in the classroom, that indicates that teacher and students are already familiar with the basic digital learning tools and online classroom activities. We always do some seminar, especially about Canva and the other application. One and also one main point is every students have their own access to the Canva platform freely from the government. So, in my opinions, the application and the digital tools are very familiar, not only from the teacher, not only with the teacher, but also with the students itself, Pak.
Yeah, okay, you need to make sure that there is familiarity, yeah, because what in your DBR, technological scaffolding is an important part. Yeah.
Yes,
If, for example, later, how many students will you be investigating? Around 30, right?
around 30, Pak.
Yeah, if in the middle of teaching or learning, suddenly they cannot log in or they have some little problems on the way, yeah, it will interfere your treatment in the classroom, your implementation, yeah, because I believe in one less you only have around 40 to 60 minutes, yeah, and technical barriers is a big problem. That's one thing you need to make sure. Okay, let
Yes,
me
Pak. Thank
carry
you.
on. With question number 3. Yeah. Uh, so I would like to touch upon the ideas mentioned by uh, previous examiners. Yeah, about uh, researcher practitioner partnership. Yeah, you said that you will be collaborating with the implementing teacher. Yeah. Can you give me some examples when you will collaborate with the teacher? Yeah, I mean, at what stage will you start collaborating with the teacher? And can you provide an examples of how you will collaborate with the teacher? Because if we treat DBR as a collaborative design, then researchers and teachers, yeah, must work together. Yeah, but in this case, we need to know. Yeah, I mean, in real examples of, for example, how you will. Perhaps you can elaborate this in terms of the stages that you will conduct in your DBR.
Yeah, Pak. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. So, yes, you are correct, Pak. I will do this research with the help of collaborating teacher. Collaborating teacher here is the teacher of 8th grade students. So, the collaborating teacher will be the main person, the main participant that will implement my model in the classroom. How can I work with? I work with the collaborating teacher, start from the phase one. The phase one is the practical problem. In that stage or in that phase, I collaborate with the collaborating teacher to find out the practical problem, the basis need analysis for the students, what happened in the reality, what happened in the classroom. So I need the collaborating teacher to discuss with me about the reality happen in the classroom. And then after that, I will go to the past two, which is design and also development. In that phase, the collaborating teacher also help me to design and to develop the model. So in that stage, I, as a researcher and the collaborating teacher, will discuss about what kinds of syntax that will be proposed in that study based on our preliminary data. So after that, after having the validated the validated model, the collaborating teacher will implement the model in the classroom. So, in conclusion, the collaborating teacher is involved throughout the design-based research process, particularly in during the analysis of implementation, because she will be the main teacher in the classroom who will implement my model. I can be the person who will see the effectiveness, will see how the model works in the classroom. I will see, is it okay to do this model in this classroom? Does the syntax is already perfect in the classroom? So I will do this basis with the collaborating teacher.
Okay, I think I'm glad when you told me that you will start collaborating with the teacher in the identification of problems. That is the most important thing, actually. Yeah, we don't want you as the researcher to formulate the problems by yourself and leave the teacher with the implementation. That's a good thing. Thank you. Now, let me talk about the teacher support readiness. Yeah, you said that you will give time for the teacher to implement the product, right? Implement the
Yes,
model. Yeah. So how will you ensure that the teacher does not violate the objectives that you have intended?
Yes,
How do you ensure that the teacher complies with the intentions that you made earlier for the
Yes,
model?
Pak.
Yeah.
Yes, we know that different person will have different perception, Pak, to implement the model. But because I will create the model and I will ask the collaborating teacher to implement the model, it means that I have to prepare anything. Before implementing the model, I have to discuss with the collaborating teacher. I will to serve the guidance books of the model to make me and my collaborating teacher have the same perception to use the model in the classroom. And then uh, this is the first thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that my collaborating teacher have the same perception with me, because he wants to apply, she wants to implement the model in the classroom. So before of that, I have to create, or I have to construct a model book. So in that model book, the teacher or the collaborating teacher will use that books as a guidance to implement the model in the classroom. So I think if the teacher will use the guidance book that we create, it means that we will have the same perception with the usage of the model that can be implemented in the classroom in the real context, Pak.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So if I can suggest that, yeah, you need to talk a lot, discuss a lot with the teacher. Yeah. So there is, for example, if I can suggest before the implementation, yeah, prior to the implementation, you can have, for example, a training workshop with the teacher. Yeah, just a short training workshop with before the implementation, just to tell the teacher, this is what we are gonna do. Yeah, not this is what I'm gonna do and this is what you're gonna do. This is what, yeah, at a training workshop prior to the commencement of the project. And the second thing, the second session that you can do with the teacher after the implementation, after cycle 1 or cycle 2, is what we call, you will do 4 to 5 meetings in a cycle, right?
Yes, Pak.
Yeah, so I suggest that you do what we call a post-lesson discussion. Yeah,
Okay.
this is a very popular terminology and PD for teachers. This is what we call post-lesson discussion, just to make sure that the teacher is on the right track of implementation. Yeah, so
Okay.
post-lesson discussion after one meeting, you can discuss with the teacher, for example. Yeah, for example, you have noticed something wrong, yeah, in the implementation. Yeah, of course, you don't want to do it in the middle of the teaching because you can embarrass the teacher. Yeah, but after the lesson, you can do a post-lesson discussion. So I suggest two things. The first one is a training workshop with the teacher prior to the commencement of the project. And the second one is the post-lesson discussion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why we need to do so? Because I think your DBR require intensive work. Yeah. I've seen a lot of work here, so I guess you need to do this. Yeah, and one important thing is that why don't you consider, for example, a pilot study, yeah, before the commencement of the projects as well, just to see, yeah, because you will be dealing with 30 students, yeah, just to check the feasibility of the project, yeah, and you are going to use digital networks, which means, yeah, any digital barriers can harm, yeah, the purpose of your design. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, one last question is that you are teaching in the school, right?
Yes, Pak.
Okay, and then you will be investigating and implementing teacher, right?
Yes, Pak.
Yeah, okay. So how would you avoid research bias here? Your implementing teacher is your partner, by the way, right? Yeah,
Yes,
don't you
Pak.
think the teacher for example, in your post-lesson discussion will only say nice things in your feedback?
Okay, Pak. I will do the observation when the collaborating teacher implement my model in the classroom. Yes, I know that because she is my friend in teaching. So maybe there are some biasness, but the thing that I have to highlight that why I'm not the one who implement the model because I don't want to be biased in implementing the model. So because of that, I need the collaborating teacher to implement my model. Yes, I know that there are some possibility of the biasness because maybe the collaborating teacher will state the good thing about my model, but I'm trying to do the best in the observation. I will do some instrument to check, and I will do some interview, not only from the teacher side, but also from the student side. Sometimes teacher maybe can state the nice thing, but the students the students sometimes can state truly from their background, from their perspective. So I will use some instrument to prove that the collaborating teacher will do the right thing in the classroom without any intervention, especially
Okay.
from me.
That's a good thing. Just make sure that your feedback rubric, for example, yeah, contains
Yes.
the SWOT analysis, where,
Yeah, Pak.
for example, the implementing teacher does not only tell you about good things, but there is also about strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. So it lies in the strength of your instrument. Okay, last but not least, yeah, the references. Yeah, this is the last thing, last of the last.
Okay, Pak.
It's never numbering format, it's always
Yeah.
alphabetical
Okay, Pak.
format. Yeah,
Yes,
because,
Pak.
for example, on page 111, I see Raymond here precedes lie. Yeah, where lie should precede Raymond here. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you very
Ibu
much,
Nurayani,
Pak.
Prof. Sumarsi, dan Ibu Ana for giving
Okay,
me the
thank
opportunity.
you to
Thank you, Pak. Thank
Bapak
you.
Ariadna SSM PhD. You have given many comment about the proposal Ibu NURMAHYUNI ASRUL. Please make a note everything that Pak Ariadna PhD gives you advice or suggestion. Yeah, the next reviewer, I ask your friend, the audience, is there any question or suggestion or advice or comment from the audience? Please, because I see many, ya. How many? Kira-kira ada berapa orang? Saya nggak nampak ini. Ada? Is there any question from the audience? Yeah, at least give the spirit to the Ibu Nurmahyuni. Yeah. Yeah, no question. Okay, I think this is the last reviewer from Pak Aryana PhD. Ibu Nurmahyuni, please close your presentation. Thank you to the reviewers, all of you. Yeah, and time for you, Ibu Nurmahyuni. Close your presentation.
Okay, ma'am, before I close the presentation, I I see that Ma'am Anna would like to give
Yes, wah, itu dia Ibu Ana.
Yeah.
Sorry Ibu Ana, bolak-balik saya lupa. Because there are many things ya. I have a green table examination and then classes. Sorry Ibu Dokter Ana Riana Suryani Tambunan SSM Home. I invite you, the co-promoter from Ibu Nurmahyuni ASRUL to give you wrap up of the conclusion.
Yes.
Time for you, Ibu Dokter.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Professor Sumarsih MPD, for the opportunity. Well done, Ibu Nurmahyuni. Yes, thank you very much to all examiners for the valuable comments, critical feedback, and constructive suggestions given to Ibu Nurmahyuni today. We highly appreciate the depth of the questions, particularly regarding the theoretical integration, the mechanisms of the instructional design, the role of digital storytelling, cultural contextualization, and then multimodal assessment and the design-based research framework itself. As the sole promoter, I see that this proposal has strong potential because it attempts to integrate genre-based writing pedagogy, digital storytelling, multimodal learning, and local cultural narratives within an authentic EFL classroom context. However, we also acknowledge that several aspects still need to be strengthened, especially in clarifying the instructional mechanism and then refining the theoretical positioning, strengthening the DPR collaboration process, and articulating the design principles more explicitly. The question raised by the examiners are very important for helping the student move this proposal from a technology-oriented study into a more theoretically grounded and pedagogically coherent doctoral dissertation. So we will carefully revise the proposal, particularly in relation to the conceptualization of digital storytelling, the integration of local culture within the Cambridge-oriented curriculum, the multimodal assessment framework, and then the accommodation of learner diversity and clearer visualization of the instructional model and refinement cycles, including the pilot study, training, and the post-lesson discussion. Well, we believe these suggestions will significantly strengthen both the methodological rigor and the theoretical contribution of the dissertation. Thank you once again for the insightful academic discussions and guidance. And well done, Nurmahyuni. I really appreciate it. Yes, that's
Thank
all,
you,
Ibu
ma'am.
Professor Sumarsi. Thank you very much. Udah, Ibu Sumarsi.
Activity, sorry. Yeah, thank you to Ibu Dr. Anariana Suryanti Tambunan SSM Home You have read the revision from all of the reviewers. Yeah. Now, time for Ibu Nurmahyuni close your presentation because this is until almost 11 o'clock, 10 minutes more. Yeah, time for you, Ibu Nurmahyuni.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I cannot say anything because I'm so nervous, but I'm very released, ma'am. Thank you very much for my beloved promoter and my co-promoter, and also thank you very much for the valuable suggestion, correction, and also guidance from my reviewer. I will discuss with my promoter and my co-promoter to make my dissertation become better. I really thanks to my promoter, co-promoter, and my reviewers. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.